screen? Hello. Okay, good. Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible. We can see your screen.
Good. And so, first of all, I would teach us how to connect to an API. Let me open a new. An API is like a link, a link or a URL that they will give you, for instance, and they would say connect to this. So you usually have an API from a website usually. So it gives you access to the database part of a web application or an application, and so you usually use that as a gateway to retrieve data for certain things. So um, in our current day context, it's like a bridge between your database and a maybe your application, your device, which you call your front end. And so now, as compared to before, where they used to build application, they will bundle it into one package. Now you can actually build your database separately, where you store your data, and your application interface that communicates with the user separately. You can actually do that now separately. So you usually do something like a back end where your database is. Then you have your API. Your API is like a bridge, right? And you have your front end. So in this case, for us, we have a back end, and we want to connect to this back end with use of this API, and not to a front end, now to Python for data analytics. Basically, that's what we want to do. So let me do this. I think I'm going to change it into a markdown. So in our case, we are actually going to connect it to our Python for some analytics. I have a backend here that I created. Let me see the URL. Sorry, hold on. This is actually a backend I built for a pet project of mine. So we're actually going to it's a project for some people. I actually built the back end using Python, Django, and it's a framework. It's a a web application framework for building web development, basically. And so these are all the endpoints, or the what they call the APIs to connect to it. So I have my I have like a get all data kind of thing, where I have like my data here. So I think if I go to my docs, I built something for that, I'll be able to get the URL to that particular data. Let me go there. Okay, so get all, do the get all. So this is the URL to get a particular data. Now, in order for me to access my data, you guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to import. So we import our pandas as PD for what? To convert whatever data we are getting into a data frame. So I can then say, instead of me saying import this, then I will now say import again. I'll just say comma. There's what they call request, and you use this for accessing data on the internet. So you use this request library for accessing data. What do I have again? I think, am I going to do any any visualization? I'll say matplotlib.pyplot for, then let me just use this numerical Python as np again. But I don't actually need these two. But in data science, you actually import almost all the library. I think even scikit-learn, but there's no, actually, let me not do this so I don't confuse you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put my URL that I just copied. So I can just give a variable URL called this endpoint that I just got, and I'll run it. The second thing I'm going to do is to set another variable called response. I can then say is equal to request.get, and I'm going to enter the pathway that I want to get this data from, which is my URL. Now, what happened? That's interesting. Oh, invalid URL. Perhaps you are meant to say HTTPS. Let me see. Yeah, interesting. What's the error? Oh, sorry. I put this in I put this as a string, which is wrong. So I'll run it again. And now if I print out my response, I'm going to get like a I think I'll get a response of 200, which means everything is okay. So response 200, which means everything is okay. So the next thing I want to do is to get my data. So I can then say data is equal to response. Now, the API actually dish out data in form of JSON, in JSON format. JavaScript. What's JSON again? Let me see. What's the full meaning of JSON? Who can remind me what JSON is? Okay. What's the full meaning of JSON again?
JavaScript documentation.
Sorry?
JavaScript object notation.
Yeah, so JavaScript object notation. And what that is like a universal language to actually get access to data. So during web development back in the day, you have somebody who build his website in using HTML, CSS, and PHP back then. Some people who build their website using Java. Now that you have Python, some people build their websites in Python, JavaScript, and so they needed a universal way for an application to be able to interact with other applications. So a web application, we should be able to interact with a mobile application. You use two different frameworks to build both your web application and your mobile application. So in such a way that if I interact with it from the web, for instance, your WhatsApp, I should be able to see whatever I've done on my mobile application. So it's a universal language for interacting, and that's the JSON. It's called a JSON format, the same way your CSV and your XLS and your HTML, your JPEG. So it's also a format, but it's a format um, for transmitting data from one place to the other. And for some reason, they came to agree on this JSON. So I'll say response.json, and JSON is a method. I think is a method or a function. Now, by the time I now print out my data variable, you can name it anything. I'm going to get something like this, and basically I've gotten access to that particular data. Now, in order for me to convert this into a data frame, so the JSON format is just like your dictionary, basically your dictionary, where you have your key and your value, basically. So I have my key called confirmed, I have my value in a list, and the list contains another dictionary, dictionary one. So each of the items in this my key value pair each item inside my list is a dictionary on its own. So so you have a dictionary inside a list that is also inside a dictionary. So for me to be able to read this particular data, I can then say df, which is a variable, is equal to pd dot data frame, and I'm going to enter my data variable inside it, since it contains something. Now I am going to get something not desirable, but I would show you why it is like that. So I now have a data frame, but confirmed. I now have some data inside. Actually, this is not what I want. I want access to the list inside this particular dictionary or this particular JSON. And in order for me to get access to it, I can then say print I'll just call instead of data, I'll just call the key. So if you want to call a particular value, you have to call the key in a dictionary. I'll now say print confirmed. I then have something like this. I can then say, right, my data is, I'll just add it here, confirmed, if I want, and I'll just say print data. I then have something like this. Now if I then run my data frame, my conversion of my JSON format to data frame, I'll just run it, and I then get a data frame that looks like a table. Basically, yeah. So in this particular data, let's say for instance, I want to make Nigeria. Look at Nigeria here on this location. We have Nigeria and it's spelled wrongly, or is spelled improperly. So we are Nigeria, so is a country, is supposed to be a proper noun, right? With the first letter being what? Capital. I want to convert this particular Nigeria to capital. There are about 3 ways I can go about this. The first way is to say df, then I will then say location, just to call out that column alone. I can then do a for loop inside this particular list that I have here. I can then say for I in this particular list, then I would say I dot capitalize. So capitalize is going to just give me the first letter in capital. So I can then say print I dot capitalize. So the first letter in that particular word will be capital letter. And I can convert this into a list comprehension by saying, let's say x is equal to, I'll now put it in a list. I'll now say I dot capitalize for I in what? df location. So I've just said the same thing, but this time around, the reason why I'm putting it in list comprehension is so that I can assign it a value, right? So I would just say print x, and I'm going to get a list of this. I can then say my df now, df location, that's my location now, my location column will now be equal to x, basically. And once I now print my data frame, I now have Nigeria spelled correctly. That's one way to go about it. So basically, I can then say, instead of using x here, I can just say df location, that's the column location, is equal to this, and if I say df, it's now going to print out my my location, the values inside my location column in capital letter. That's one way to go about it. Let me comment this and run it. I'm going to restart kernel. and run again. So the second method is I can use what they call it's a method inside Pandas called apply. It's loading. Let me see if I'm still recording. Please, at the point where you cannot hear me, do let me know. So I can say, sorry, please hold on.
They are coming to share.
Who is talking? Uchechi, is that you? I know I'm
They are
talking.
coming to share. I heard it, yes.
Okay. So this is the first way to a method to go about converting the each of the values in our column, our location column, to capital letter. The second way is to use a method called .apply. So what I'm going to do is I'll say my df location is equal to df location dot apply. Now the apply, I'm going to enter what I want to apply to this location. I want to do string dot capitalize. I want to capitalize the string, I think. Hopefully I don't get it wrong. Ooh. And when I say df and I print it, I can then see that it's going to automatically capitalize my the first letter. Because if you look at the data set, let me go up a little. I think we didn't do, there are certain things we're actually supposed to do in our data set that we did not do. Usually anytime you print out the data set, so the first thing is what df.shape to know the shape. Then the other thing we would need to do is also say df.info to check our data set. So what I'm just going to do is just to restart my kernel and run all cells again so that I don't get any kind of error. Oh, okay. So my shape, basically I'm having, this is row and this is the column. Number of rows is 8, the number of column is 9. My info is going to show me if there are any null values and the data type. So basically for location is telling me object, so most likely is a string. So that's why I said string dot capitalize. So whatever the value there is a string, then capitalize it, and that's what it did for me. The last one is a little bit difficult to do. So I'm going to use our location and index location basically. So let's say I have my data set df.loc, and I'm going to say give me all the rows and just the location. Okay, what is it? Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to use a square bracket. So basically I've just done the same thing here. I've done the same thing here just by saying df.location. I've literally done the same thing. So if I say df and I just put the location inside and I use iloc, I'm basically saying give me all the rows in the what, in the location column. So the first value will be rows, the second will be column. If I say iloc index location, I would say give me all the rows, then I will now call the index of the column, which is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, I think, or 7 or 8, I remember. But I will now say, instead of me to say location, I'll just say 8. Oh, sorry, so it's 7. So it's starting from 0. So basically I'm saying the same thing. This time around, if I use look, I'll just say sorry, location. You can use either one and it works fine. Then I can then say is equal to how is it again? Forgot to know. Oh, I can say dot capitalize. I think. Let's see if it's going to work. Oh, it's already in capital letter. I've forgotten the last method. Frankly, it's a little bit. I think I have to go and I'll show you guys maybe in a later tutorial. But you can actually use these two methods, of which the second method is quite easy because Pandas already have something for that already, so you don't have to do a list comprehension. This is a Python method. This is a Pandas method that is built inside Pandas. It's easy for you to do that instead of having to use list comprehension or using a for loop in Python. So you can actually use Pandas own method called .apply to actually convert it into capital letter. What else? I think that is what I wanted to show you guys. Basically, that's what I wanted to show you guys. What we are then going to do from our previous tutorials is to respond to who can remember the financial data set that they gave us in the base during the sessions, the class sessions. I think they gave us a question with regard to the financial data set. Let me check it. Hold on, please. What I did for during the class sessions, I converted a lot of our assessment they gave us. I actually created my own version of it, the same using the same questions they gave us. So which is why I have it with me here. So we're actually going to use this is the financial data set, and this is these are the questions. We're actually going to use Python for it. So in the first, can you guys see my screen very well? Sorry.
Yes.
Let me increase the font. So the instructions was to remove Montana from product. I think they also say we should convert the segment data into capital. We should capitalize it. They asked us to do that. I think I have my SQL, the data set here that I did for the SQL. I'm going to run it again so that we can have access to it. Also, I'm just going to restart and run all cells. It's going to take time because I created, you guys know how to convert a CSV into a database, right? I think we've done that earlier in one of our projects. Is there anybody who doesn't know how to convert a CSV, how to import CSV to a database? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Maybe I've missed that class.
It's a project,
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Who is talking? Introduce yourself, please. I can't hear everybody. I can't see everybody.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yusuf Musa is
Yusuf Musa,
speaking from.
how are you? You said
I'm good.
you missed that project? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I missed the class. I think
Which group are you in?
group 8.
What is group 8? Oh, one of your team members said you missed the class. Mr. Adejo, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How far now, bros?
I'm fine. I'm good, sir.
So I was asking a question. Can you help him answer if we did something like of that nature or not?
Which is the loading of CSV into the?
A database.
Yeah, we did that now. We even did that for assignment. The files that were given to us, that students and the scores, we did before we now linked it up to Power BI.
Mr.
That was the
Yusuf.
project.
Mr. Yusuf, it means that you are not full you are not participating in your team project. Ebenezer, do you remember that? Mr. Justice, what of you? Did you remember that particular project that we
Yeah,
did?
yeah, very well.
Yes, I remember that. I think it's the SQL this thing.
That we did student management system, designing it in Power BI.
Yes, sir, with their grade.
Yeah, so you can see that this basically is no knowledge lost. What I did was I did for the financial data set that we have. I uploaded it into SQL, and now I'm getting the data from SQL itself. So we're basically going to use this particular data set to solve this particular question here that we have. Excuse me. So in the question, they said we should remove Montana, right? So this is our data set. This is the info. I even forgot to get the I forgot to get the shape, but basically we have about let me see. We have about 16 rows, 16 columns and 700 rows. Let me start from here. I think I'll just delete every other thing other than here. I've done these tutorials before, but I just want to, for some reason, would repeat it again. I think I did it. If you were following my, did I? I don't think I'll save it. Card. So what I'm just going to do is just to copy here. I'll just take it to a different. I think this is where we opened, right? I'll just take it here, and I will paste it somewhere here. Already have requests, so I'm just going to take it here, and I'm going to copy this engine, take it to this place. I'm going to copy this query. I'm going to take it to this place. The next thing I'm going to do is to copy my data frame. I think I'll just call it finance, so that I'll just call it finance, and I'm going to restart my kernel and run it again. Gonna take time, but oh, didn't take time. I'll do the finance and I'll say dot head. Oh, okay, it's going to take time. It's loading. Okay, let's see if our data is up. Okay, so these are our finance data set, right? So if we say finance.shape, we have about 700 columns and 700 rows and 16 columns. Then we say finance.info. We have about so our date is object, our profit is object. It's supposed to be a float because it's money. Cost of goods is a so from manufacturing price to cost of goods sold is supposed to be a floating object, or a float rather, or a decimal because it's money, but it's object. And the reason is because we are having these signs here, this dollar sign. So what we can do is to, first of all, they said we should remove Montana from product. So I'm going to say finance, then I'm going to call out the product, and I'll say equal to Montana. Okay, basically I don't know, did I remove Montana from there? Anyways, I'll say finance dot product. I will now say dot unique. Okay, so I think I have the product data set here. Yes, I have product. Yeah, dot unique, and I have Montana as part of the unique data set. Now, one of the reasons why it is telling me that it's not there is, I don't know if you guys can see this space here. Can you guys see this space here?
Yeah, I can see it from my end.
Yeah, so I think it's one of the reasons why it did not show me Montana. But if I copy it like this and put that space there, is equal to Montana, it's going to show me something. And that's because there's a space there. And so I actually need to do something with regards this space. This space is not supposed to be there. But for this intended purpose, I am actually going to, so this is Montana, right? So if I want to filter only the data set for Montana, what I'm just going to do is just to say, I'll put this inside my square bracket, and it's only going to return data set that it's only Montana that is a product. Now, if I want to say that is not Montana, I'm just going to say not is high, or the apostrophe, is it apostrophe, what, exclamation mark. So basically that is not Montana. Give me the data set, filter out data set that is not the product is not Montana. So I'm just going to do like this, and so I've basically filtered it out. So I can then say is equal to my new financial data set basically. And by the time I say finance dot product dot unique, I'm definitely not going to see Montana as part of it. I don't know why. Okay, sorry, hold on. So I think I always need to put this in a square bracket and just call it out as I should. So you can see that I no more have Montana as part of my product. So I've basically filtered it out. So then I can then play with my data set. But the problem here is now I now have this dollar sign that I don't really want. I really don't want it, right? Because I want to do certain calculations. So I can then remove this particular dollar. I don't want dollar. I don't want yeah, basically I don't want the dollar. So what I can then do is to call out each of these particular data set, each of this particular column. So I can say finance, and I have my manufacturing price, right? I can call it out. So you can see that I have my dollar that I don't want. I can say is equal to, so if I say dot replace, what I want to replace, I want to replace the dollar sign with nothing. Now it's not going to work, and the reason is because this is an object, right? And so what I can then do is to say, instead of dot replace, I'll say dot string dot replace, and it's going to remove it for me, basically. And if I say if I then say is, I can then set it as my new finance, my new manufacturing price column. So I can then say finance, then I can, if I then call it out, finance, sorry, I get this, but it's still an object, right? So in order for me to convert it into a float, I'll say dot as type, then I'll say I'll then say float. And so by the time I do that, you can then see that my data set has been converted into a floating the data type is now float, is now float or decimal. Let me see if I can combine this in with the first code that I wrote. Let me see if I can combine it. I'm curious. Oh, okay. So dot as type, sorry. Oh, that is nice. It has actually converted. Now, if I then say finance dot object dot info, I've solved one of the problems. My manufacturing price is now a floating value. I can then do the same thing to my sales price, my gross, like that. Sorry, the person that please unmute, mute yourself. So I can then do the same thing to my other column. So I have my sales price. Basically just going to copy this and see. There's one that will not work. And,
please,
sorry,
I have a question.
please ask.
Where you were able to remove this Montana from the product?
Sorry?
Where you remove the Montana from the product?
Yes.
In that particular function, I can see you wrote finance, like function inside a function.
No.
Finance.
So basically, okay. What was the question?
Okay, where you wrote finance is equal to finance, then you open a square bracket, and you a product. So, how you wrote this finance in two places?
Sorry, I don't follow.
Where you remove the Montana, that
Yes.
function, it is that I don't understand.
Okay, let me explain. So if we want to call out the finance, the product column, You agree that this is how you call it, right? And if I print it, it's just going to show me a list of the products. Is that not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I then say, give me product that is not finance, is now going to go through each and every value. Is this equal to Montana? It will say true or false, true or false, true or false, true or false, until it shows me the one that is equal to Montana. Then it will show me true. So if this is Montana, it will be true, but in this case, this is not Montana. So it's going to go through each and every value and test if it is Montana or not. Is that not? So if I do like this, I'm going to see false, 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 because the false value is not Montana. Now, if I say is this product is not equal to Montana, is like I'm testing, is this not equal to Montana? Basically, it's going to show me true, because the false value is actually not Montana, right? Like that, like that. Now, this is basically a filter. If I want to now apply this my filter to my data set, so okay, give me everything that is not. So this is my filter, right? This is my test. I want to remove in the product everything that is not Montana. Oh, filter is happens to be a method. So let me just say filter 1, right? So if I then want to apply it in my data set, that I want you to give me finance data set that happens to be filter, that happens to be not equal to Montana, which is my filter variable. What I can then do is to say finance, and I'll now say filter, and it's only going to give me data set that I don't have Montana as the product name. Now I can't continue to run this like this every time. I have to set it to be something. So I can say my new data set is new df is equal to this. So instead of me to have to call finance every time, I can just say new df, for instance. You understand? It doesn't really matter the variable. Don't be confused with the variable that I set. I just set it to be my finance variable. Remember that this finance is a variable. It's a Python variable. Always remember that. I can set it to be anything. Do you understand? Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
So if I put it like this, you understand it better than the first one that I did.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's go with this. Does it make sense now? I was saying new df. Okay, so I'm getting an error here, and that's because I think this second one is not working. And let me see. Okay, I think I need to restart my kernel. So anytime you notice that you're having error and you cannot for some reason understand what the error is, always restart your kernel and run all your cells again. So it saves you the headache of having to solve problem that is not there. I think it's one of the disadvantage of using Anaconda, but well, we are managing it like that. So it's loading. It's going to take time. Okay, so we'll say new df.info, and we have converted our manufacturing price to float. Like I said, I'm going to do the same thing for this. It's showing me an error. I'm just going to remove this string and run it again. Okay, I think it's fine. So if I come to my new df.info again, underscore new df.info here, I've converted my sales price into a float. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of them. I'll do for gross sales like that. Am I getting any error? I'm supposed to get some error. Okay, so for our gross sales, the reason why this is not working is because it also have it has a comma there as well, and we now have thousands, and it then has comma. So for gross sales, I'm going to increase my library of my replace. So you see this replace, I'm going to convert it into a dictionary, and I'm going to be doing a lot of replacement. So I'll just say replace as my dictionary name, or anything. You can just say dict1 or my dict, so that I'll set it to be a dictionary. And I'm now going to enter the dictionary of the list of things I do not want to be there. So key value pair, remember? So I'll then say comma. I also don't want comma to be there. What else? Yeah, basically. So now I can then say for key value, key comma value. Remember, dictionary is a key value pair. In my dict.items, and I'll then say this replace. I'll now say replace I with j, basically, or replace key with value. And if I run it, it should give me okay, so that's fine. I think there's also space there as well. Let me see. There's also space that I want to remove, I think. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to say key value. Anyways, I'm going to restart my kernel again, and let's see if it's going to apply it or not. Oh, so it's saying that, what did I do? Oh, this is fine. Oh, so I think I'm also going to say dot string dot replace. I don't know what is happening. Oh, so it's saying that could not convert this to float. I thought I gave it space. I also added comma. That is interesting. Anyways, let me remove this and see. I'm going to observe what the data frame looks like. Okay, so we have is it gross price or sales price? Oh, cool. We have gross. So why is it not converting into a? Anyways, it's fine. Let me see. So I would say dot as type load. Let me see. Dot as type. Interesting. So I can then say new df.info, and I think it has converted it. So it has converted the gross sales, the gross sales price, the gross sales into float. So I think I'm also going to do the same thing for my. So I'm basically going to do the same thing for sales price. So I'm just going to add my sales price here. Sales price. Sorry, let me accept some people. Equal to new. Please mute your mic. Mute your mic, please. Control C. I'm just going to paste it here. Let me see. Okay, this is fine. It's not giving me so it's saying the string. I'm just going to remove this. Oh, let me run it again. Mute your mic, whoever you are. Anytime you have certain issues, just restart your. Okay, cool. It has worked. Has it worked? Okay, so I can then put my I'll put my sales price here. Again, I'm just going to copy, C, paste, Control V. And I'm now going to display my data type, the information here. Let's see what I'm going to get. This is interesting. Again, I'm just going to restart and run my cell again. Hopefully this should disappear. Oh, this is interesting. I think I'm just going to remove it away from this place.
Thank God that you have a supportive wife.
Sorry?
Thank God you have a supportive wife.
What happened?
With this kind of technical issues, not your brain go hot.
Oh, no. It depends. I've been doing this a very long time, so it's not. I can say that some of the issues or most of the issues are self-inflicted issues. Maybe you did not do the right thing. I basically have done this conversion here. I just want to do it again. So look at a lot of these. I've done it here. I've actually done this in the tutorials itself, but I think you should go and watch it. I'm just going to copy. I'm just going to copy it for the purpose of solving the problem. If you've not watched the last video that I posted, I think you should. Basically, I'm just going to copy everything that I did here. I'm too lazy to start solving this problem today. The weather is hot. Okay, so I think I'm just going to paste it here.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to convert this to finance. I think I can say Control H here. Oh, it's not going to work. Who is that? Oh, please mute your mic. Mute your mic. Mute.
I think it's new_DF, not finance.
Oh, yeah, true. Thanks, man. After you have allowed me suffer finish. Thanks. Control V, Control V, Control V. This is more stressful than Excel, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course.
You guys are the one that say you want.
Seriously, I'm waiting for a time to complain, sir. This Python is giving me headache personally. I don't know. I'm just frustrated, and I hate it when I'm not understanding.
No, it's always like that. It's always like that. It's a new sphere because it's programming language that you need to learn first. Then you also need, after that, you have two problems. You will learn the programming language and you will learn its application. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's
You said what,
just,
sir?
I said you have two problems. The first problem is learning programming language, Python. The second problem is applying the programming language to data analytics. Does that make sense?
Oh, sir, it's not interesting. The Python is not interesting.
Don't worry. If you get used to it, you will enjoy it. If you get used to it, you will enjoy it. And again, you don't take a gun to a knife fight, right?
Yes, sir.
So I don't know what's happening to this particular data today. Oh, okay. I think I need to delete this as well. What I meant by you don't take a gun to a knife fight, something that you know you can easily solve in Excel, don't take it to Python. Something you know you can easily solve in SQL, don't take it to Python. So it's the same thing. Something you know you can easily solve in Excel, don't take it to SQL. Don't complicate your problem far much more than what it is. Do you understand? The idea behind teaching you guys all of this tool is so that you can use it at convenience. Wherever Python is most convenient to use, you use it. Oh, so it has actually worked. And so if I say new df and I say .info, you see that my data set is, you can see that, why is this thing not working? It is supposed to work. For some reason, it is not. Yeah, it's showing me error, but replace it now. I understand that, but replace it, please. That's just weird. Should I remove the string? Because if I don't remove the string, it's not going to work. Again, let me see. It worked the first time. I don't know. Is it the update that I did? It's going to show me error if I do this. Let me restart my kernel. Again, I want to find out what this is, and I'm going to copy it out and find out what this problem is. But I'm going to restart the kernel again. A number of times I've had to restart these kernels for it to work. Let me find out what the issue is. But I don't think it's much. It's not the. It's more of an anaconda problem than a problem per se. Eh? Didn't convert to. That's serious. Let me find out what this is. I've restarted the kernel again. I want to see if it will work or not. I hope it did work. Oh, it's saying manufacturing price not mentioned. Oh, so sorry, I didn't put it in what's the name of the column? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Okay, let me see. Trim. Pandas is a little bit weird. I'm supposed to be solving this problem, but I'm solving it. It worked before, it's not working now. Interesting stuff. Oh God, help me. Who can help me here? Oh, I really don't know what the issue is now. Who is going to help me? This is one of the worst day of my today. Did something, it didn't work. I did it again, it worked. It's weird, man. And most likely if I go and sit down, I would find out that the issue is not much of a problem. It's asking me to do something else again. Interesting stuff. It's asking me to add this is not supposed to be a problem actually. This isn't a problem, but it is a problem now for some reason. Let me see. Oh, many apologies. I don't think, sorry. So I am supposed to say comma. I think the comma is missing, which is why. Oh God. Am I the only one that saw that? I think the reason why. Okay, let me see the comma row. Comma. Yep. I think it's the reason why I got that error. Yeah, so I'm going to restart this. So there's no comma here as well. Sorry. Okay, now it's not giving me an error. Apologies. And so if I run it again, this is weird. It's still not converting my stuff to God. It's still not converting my stuff into again. I'm going to restart my kernel and run again. This has wasted a bulk of our time here. This is just weird. The essence of today's session is lost completely. Anyways, I think I'm going to I'm not going to lose anything. Please mute your mic if you are not going to say anything. Who is this person that is? Mute your mic if you're not going to say anything. Mubarak, is that you?
Hello, sir.
Is that you? Mute your mic, please.
Okay, sir.
I frankly don't know what the issue is. So frank, I really don't know what the issue is now. Isn't this interesting? So it did work here. I don't know why it is not working there. So look at my float. Let me see what I did here. Oh, sorry. I think sorry, many apologies. I'm supposed to also do the conversion, right? Sorry, let me just copy here. I forgot to convert it. So this is just replacement. I'm supposed to actually convert it. And sorry, I was wondering what the issue was. Oh, sorry, this is supposed to be new df. I mean, maybe it's the weather. The weather is a bit hot. The reason why I'm confused. New df. Oh, sorry. So this is new df. Yeah, so I'm going to restart the kernel again and let's see what's going to happen. I think basically I'll send you guys this code and I'll send you the it will be assignment towards next week. Yep. So it has actually done the conversion for me, and then you can start solving problems. Let's see. So let's see the first question. I think I'll start it, then we are going to give the rest as assignment. So they said which month and year had the highest profit? Which month and year had the highest profit? So we are going to go by, so if we look at our data set, we have year and we have month name or month number, but because we are going to do a grouping by year and month, we actually want to convert the year into float. So I'm going to convert this into a float, and no, into a not a float, sorry, an object. Otherwise it's going to do it will not be, it would aggregate, and we don't want that. Okay, yeah, as type, and I want to convert it into a string. I don't know why this thing is showing me this error, but it should work. Why is it showing me this error? God, I do not want to use this iLook. It's just weird. Okay, so let me use the iLook. Okay, it worked fine. I don't want to use it. It keeps giving me, I don't know. Oh, so it was supposed to work here. I didn't know why it didn't work here. Help me. And it actually worked here. I really don't know why it is not working. The Pandas is not my best friend today. Actually, it isn't.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, I don't know why it is not my best friend today. What did I do here? Oh, I did something here. I cannot remember. Anyways, it's fine. Okay, good. Let me just do that. So I'm going to create a pivot table basically, and I'm just going to say new df, and I'm not going to say group by dot group by. Now what I want to do is to group by year and month. I can say month name, and I'm going to put this into a square bracket, and I think a double square bracket, and I'm going to say profit. Where's profit? Yep, I'm going to say profit, and I'm going to say dot sum. So I group them by year and by month, and profit. And so I think if I put a double square bracket, it's going to give me it's going to give me an error instead. This one that is loading, anytime it's loading, it wants to give some error. Yeah, it wants to give some error, so I think I'm just going to remove this. Yeah, so this works. So the other thing I can then say, I'll say dot sort value, then yeah, so I'm going to get, this is in ascending order, so from smallest to the largest, but I am going to say from largest to smallest. So I want to see the largest value on top. I will now say ascending. It has a attribute called ascending. So ordinarily the ascending it's naturally equal to true, so I'll just set it equal to 4, so the highest value will be up. So I have December 2014, I have about 2,012,581. So that's my question. So the answer here is December 2014, which is what we got there. They said which country showed the highest gross sales. So we have gross sales, which is this, right? By what country? So we are going to do a pivot table, a group by country, right? By then we'll sum the gross sales. df dot group by, we will now say by what are we grouping by? I want to know the highest gross sales by country. Then what are we summing? We are summing what? Gross sales. Then we'll now say dot sum. Then we can say dot sort values. Then ascending equal to false. Then I can then say dot head, and I just want only one. So Canada basically. So it's going to give me the first row that is on top, which is the highest, which is Canada, and we have about 23 million. So if you come here, you can see Canada is correct. So which product had the highest sales revenue? So basically I'm just going to do the same thing, but it will be sales revenue, which product. So this country now will be converted into what? So by product and by highest sales revenue, and I think this should work. You can see we have Passio, we have about 33 million, which is what we have here. Passio 33 million. So I think I'm going to give you guys the rest as assignment to actually do. I also want to show you how I can display this further into a data frame. So if I want to display this into a data frame, I can say if I want to display this into a data frame, I'll just say sales or product and sales. Product, comma, sales. Now I'm going to get an error, and the error is in the sort by value. I'm supposed to say by something. Oh, that is interesting. But this is not supposed to be like this. Yeah, so it's telling me that I have an argument problem in my sort value. So I'll say by. So sort by, what do I want to sort by? I want to sort by product. No, I want to sort by sales, sorry. So I then have a data frame instead of a Pandas series. So if I say D type, I think it's D types. I want to check the data type of this. Is it D type? Oh, sorry. I think it's supposed to be dot D types. Sorry. I can just say dot D types, Control X. Yeah. So you can see that this is a float. But if I say D type for this, it's an object, right? So the D type for this is float, for this is an object. So this is just the difference between the both of them. And so if you are trying to do, if your value is in a Pandas series, or yeah, if it's if it's actually in a Pandas series, you don't need the by. But if it's in a data frame, you actually need the by, and you are going to say by, you are trying to sort your value by what column, by the sales column or by the product, and we actually want to do it by the sales column. We want the highest to be up. I think we can also say dot reset underscore index, and basically we'll have a Pandas data frame that looks more so I think if I say dot D types, I'm going to get yeah, so I'm actually going to get an object. So you can either do the aggregation by this, or you can just do it by using this. So the difference between the first one and the second one is that you are now specifying the columns you actually want to play with. So if I remove this, Control X, you can see it's going to give me a particular data frame, and then I can then do my aggregation on it. So I want to group by product. I want to do a sum. So it's going to automatically sum by whatever it deems fit to be value. So imagine if I say segment here, I'm going to get an error, and that's because oh sorry, let me see, segment. Oh, I didn't get an error, but it didn't give me what I actually wanted. So maybe I want to do a count of, so I can then do a count, and you can see it now gives me a value instead of this sum. By the time I use sum, it's just giving me something I really don't know what it is. So but if I use count, for instance, it's going to give me some meaningful pivot table that I can use for whatever it is I want to use for. So they said let's go back. Yeah, so this is basically what I wanted to use it for, and I've gotten my response. So segment generated highest profit. Which segment generated the highest profit? I think I'll leave you guys to do the rest. I'm going to send you guys the link. I will send you guys the this particular I'll send you guys this particular notebook. What I would advise you to do is, you see this connection here, you can either create this connection in, you can do a database of the finance, or you can just import it directly by using I think the finance data set is an Excel data set that we changed to CSV, then loaded it to a MySQL database. But you can actually, you should have the data set already. I think it was made available to us during the internship. Let me see. But I'm going to place it here so you don't have to necessarily connect to a database. I will just send you guys the Excel and you can just read the Excel file and solve the problem. Let me see. Let's see. Let me save this. So this is financial data set. I will send it to you guys. Before we leave, do you have any questions? Any questions before we leave?